Tara Teng, thanks so much for making the time. I'm really excited for you guys to hear from Tara because she's just somebody who's living all out, living unleashed. She's a blogger. She's a social justice advocate. She's a mom that has her kids around in all of her work. She speaks everywhere. Just a beautiful soul. So thanks so much for making the time to hop on here.
Yeah, I'm honored. Thanks for chatting with me.
Of course. Tell us your journey. How did you get to this point? What's the journey been for you to where now you are an internationally renowned speaker doing work that you really love to do? What's that road been like to get here?
It's kind of been an accidental journey, to be honest. And I mean, I say accidental, but I really believe that nothing happens by coincidence. I believe in God-ordained moments of destiny, and that every interaction that happens in our lives kind of sets the course of where we are actually supposed to be. And so for me, my journey actually, I can look back and see seeds that were planted from a very young age, being like 12 years old and this super curious, very nerdy, loves to learn, loves to watch documentaries, teenager. And I stumbled across a documentary that was running on CBC, and it was called Bangkok Girl. And it told the story of a young woman in Bangkok, Thailand, who was trapped in the sex trade. And I remember a moment that has stuck with me to this day in the documentary of where this girl looked into the camera lens, and it was as if everything else melted away and it was just me and her. And she looked in and she said, "No one cares about me." And you could see that she honestly believed that her whole worth, her whole value was nothing more than what somebody would pay for her. And that stuck with me even to this day. And so I found myself even years later on, when we moved from a small town into a suburb of Vancouver where we live now, and we got to know our new neighborhood and we got to know our new community, and I found out that there was a neighbor of ours on our street in our cul-de-sac where their daughter had been trafficked at 14 years old.
Right down the street.
Right down the street. It wasn't Thailand anymore. It wasn't a world away. It was right on my street. And, she had been lured into prostitution by a trafficker who pretended to be her boyfriend. And ever since, she's been gone. And when that hits so close to home, you can't just ignore that.
Right.
You can't just pretend that doesn't happen. You're faced with a decision. And for me, it was I learned so much about human trafficking, and then God really confronted me and said, "You know so much about this, Tara. What are you going to do about it?" And that just launched me into, where I was. And it started really in my own circle of networks.
Yeah.
I was in university and I just started talking to people that I was placed around. I joined a social justice club on my campus, and that was really just how it started. It started volunteering. It started just learning about things, and it started just being involved, starting where you were. And God's just blessed that and taken me to places that I never expected, given me platforms that I don't deserve, and it's just been an incredible way to just be used by Him for something that's so much bigger than myself.
Wow. Tell us about the work that you're doing now with the Joy Smith Foundation.
Yeah.
What are you doing right now?
Well, aside from being a mom.
Yeah. No, I love this. This is one of my favorite interviews ever. This is so fun. What's your little guy's name? So what's your little guy's name over there?
So my son is Chaitan. He's 2 years old, and my daughter has yet to be named because she's so new. But it's just, again, it's impacting those around you. And for me, it's sometimes raising my kids. I'm very much a modern woman where I wear a number of different hats. I think we all do now. So aside from being a mom, I also I work as a speaker. I work in partnership with the Joy Smith Foundation. And when we're looking at the piece of the puzzle in terms of human trafficking, we work on the Canadian side of things. Right. So that's our contribution. That's our piece. We work to end human trafficking within Canadian borders. And the majority of victims that we work with in Canada although some are foreign born that are brought into Canada and exploited here from other international countries, we primarily deal with Canadian victims, which surprises
Wow.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because it is happening right under our noses in our communities.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of speaking and public engagement, raising awareness about the different initiatives that we have with the Joyce Smith Foundation. And Joyce Smith is just doing outstanding work. You know, she's one of my living heroes. You know, basically any law that Canada has against human trafficking, she fought to put in place.
Wow.
You know, when she started in politics, they laughed at her. They said human trafficking doesn't happen in Canada. And it wasn't even part of Canada's criminal code. And now how far we've come because of her dedication.
Yeah.
You know, so now we're working outside of the parliamentary system, and we're able to really work in relationship with the survivors.
So recently you started a blog for the socially conscious woman. Tell us more about that and what you got going on there.
Yeah, that's actually a lot of fun. Blogging has just been such a creative outlet for me. I've always been a bit of a writer, and so it's been an opportunity to kind of wield my words and write a fun blog, but really use it for the greater good, as cliche as that sounds. Right. I call myself a blogger for social good, and I love being able to connect people with sustainable brands, with fair trade companies, with companies that are doing more than just offering a great product, but empowering people's lives and, thinking socially conscious with integrity in the way that they do their business. You know, and it's things that I use in my daily life, like even this wrap that I've got my daughter sleeping in right now. Yeah. It's sustainably made with bamboo, and it's made by a local mom here in Vancouver, and the entire product is made in Vancouver. Wow. You know, and if I'm going to buy a product for myself, I would way rather shop from a small shop that is being socially conscious, that is being responsible in their business practices, and that's providing jobs for families in my community. Right. That is just huge to me, and especially if it can be something that is ethical and sustainable, that's good for us, that's good for the planet, that's good for others. I mean, that's checking all of my boxes. And I'm finding that people don't need more bad news. Right. You know, we talked about this a little bit before, and we live in a time where, you know, we turn on the news and everything on the TV and everything in the newspaper is just depressing. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like that, because there are such great stories and great initiatives out there that we can be involved in. And I really feel like my job as a blogger for social good, to share life and style for the socially conscious woman, is just to share the stories of those incredible brands, those incredible individuals, great initiatives that we can all get on board in. And if I can use my consumer dollars and purchase something that is going to make an impact in somebody else's life, or something that is going to be protecting the environment, then that's something that I personally want to be involved in.
Well, and I think a lot of people have the heart to want to do good, and what you're doing here is giving people a chance to say, hey, this is how you do it. This is where you do it. It's practical. Yeah. Yeah,
it's practical. It's day to day. You know, if you're going to drink tea, drink this brand that tastes great and is amazing, or these coffee brands, or, you know, my lipstick is organic, it's cruelty-free, it's vegan, it's completely non-toxic, and it's made in Victoria, BC. Wow. You know, like it just makes sense to me. Yeah. And that's the way that I want to live my life. I want to pursue justice as a lifestyle. Right. This isn't just a hobby that I do on the weekends. It's not something that I just donate a check to. You know, I want to be living in a way that is holistic, and that, you know, everything that I do, everything that I say, that these values line up.
As a mom of two, doing all of this work, balancing all of this, why don't you just speak directly to the moms watching this who want to make a difference? What would you say to them?
Moms, dads,
everybody's.
Uncles, aunts, yeah. I mean, for me, I don't compartmentalize my life. Yeah. As you see.
Yeah.
You know, I have my kids with me. And I think a big thing is leading by example. So that's why I intentionally don't compartmentalize my life. And I think I hear a lot of other, you know, mom bosses saying, you know, like, I got to find balance, and, you know, this time is with my kids and that time is my work. And that's great if that works for you. And I do think that there's real value in being 100% present with whatever it is that you're doing. But at the same time, I want to show my kids that they can have it all.
Right.
I want to model for my kids that if they want to have a career and a family, they don't have to compromise in that. They can do both.
Yeah.
You know, and something that my husband and I decided very early on, when we started talking about having a family, was when we're going to be involved with the community, our kids are just going to come with us, and they're going to witness us being involved in the community. They're going to witness us volunteering. They're going to witness us having people in our home. They're going to witness us making conscious, socially conscious consumer choices.
Yeah.
You know, all things like that. You know, it's leading by example, and it's involving them in what we do. And I have found that kids are incredibly intuitive, and they're so aware. They're so much more aware than what we give them credit for. You know, my son is 2 years old, and he goes around, oh, is daddy happy? Is so-and-so happy? Are they happy? You know, he's worried about people's well-being.
Wow.
And, you know, he had a little friend that came over that's only about 13 months old, and he goes over to his cupboard and he makes sure that she has a drink of water too.
Right.
You know? It's things like that, because he's witnessed us be hospitable to people in our home, and we've modeled for him hospitality. And even at 2 years old, he's picked up on those values. And so as somebody who has little people in my life, I would just encourage other people to do the same. Just lead by example, live out your values, and make it part of your day-to-day, and involve them in it. They are not too young to understand.
What is one phrase or motto or something that you live by that you would want to encourage people with, something that's sticking out to you lately?
For me, one of the things that I've kind of always gone by, I even kind of signed off my emails with conviction, because everything that I want to do, if I can't back it up with my entire integrity, then I don't even want to utter the phrase. I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to be part of it. I want everything that I do that I can put my whole heart into and stand behind. You know, my dad has always taught us that we have to, you know, what's important is not what's on your resume. It's not the titles or the letters behind your name. It's your character and it's your integrity. And that's something that was impressed to me upon from a very young age. And so for me, my phrase is just with conviction. If I want to do everything that I do with the utmost conviction and live my life in that way.
Absolutely. Tara Teng, thanks so much for making the time. This has been fantastic, and I know I got a lot out of this interview. So thanks for living Unleashed. Keep doing it, and looking forward to seeing what you do moving forward.
Thanks, Justin.